Okay, now we are gonna solve November 2009. Let's start with the first question. Which process produces heat to maintain a person's body temperature? So, we want to generate heat from respiration. As we all know, that respiration generates heat and it produces heat that maintains the body temperature, which shows an organism that has been named using the binomial system. We know that the binomial system consists of genus and species. Genus capital and species small, and they are consist of two names. So Homo sapiens, the H is capital, and sapiens, the S is small. So this is an correct binomial name. Which arthropod is an insect? To choose insect, you have to count the legs. As you all know that insects have 3 pair of legs. 3 pair of legs means 6 legs. The one that has 6 legs here is B. This is a very important question and it is repeated in past papers exam. Use the key to identify the plant. As you all see here, these are flowers and the flowers have petals. Here we have 5 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So flower has 5 petals. Leaves here are not smooth. So we are gonna choose D. This is also a very important question. The diagram shows a student drawing of a guard cells. Which labeling line is not correct? As we all know, this is a cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm, chloroplast, and vacuole. So A is not the cell membrane. A is a vacuole. The photograph shows some human cells under the microscope. Human cells. So we don't have cell wall here. So it is not B or D. It's either A or C. Q is a cell membrane, as it is the outer layer. And B is a cytoplasm. So the answer is A. Which cell moves dust particles out of the body? It is a function of the cilia. So the answer is A, ciliated cells. Which tissue is involved in contraction? C, as C are the muscle tissue. A is the red blood cells, B root hair cell, and D xylem. What increases the rate of diffusion of oxygen into red blood cells in the lung? The answer is D. Why? Blood is taken away from the lung as it circulates. So as the blood moves away and another blood comes here as deoxygenated blood. So blood come and moves, blood come and moves, blood come and moves. This creates difference. And the blood is not stagnant here. So as the blood circulates, oxygen moves from high oxygen concentration to low oxygen concentration down the concentration gradient by diffusion. Question 10 is also a very important question repeated in all exams. The diagram shows an experiment one set up and the same experiment 2 hours later. We all know that water moves by osmosis and the dye moves by diffusion. And ions such as nitrate or glucose or magnesium moves by active transport. Which graph shows the effect of temperature on the activity of a human digestive enzyme? The answer is D. As temperature increase, rate of reaction increase until it reaches the optimal temperature, then a sudden decrease occurs as the enzyme is now denatured. Which cell type absorbs the most carbon dioxide during the day? The answer is B, as B is a palisade mesophyll cell where photosynthesis occurs. Which element is found in a molecule of chlorophyll? As we all know, magnesium is used to synthesize chlorophyll and nitrate is used to synthesize protein. Which substance do root hair cells take from the soil? They take water by osmosis and mineral ions by active transport. The diagram shows a plant. What is the pathway taken by most of the water absorbed by this plant? So we start by Z, as is the root, then stem, then leaves. What describes the aortic and bicuspid mitral heart valves when the left ventricle relaxed? When the left ventricle is relaxed, the aortic valve is closed and the bicuspid valve is opened. The bicuspid valve is opened so that the blood moves from the left atrium to the left ventricle. So in order for the blood to move from upper side to the lower side, we have to open the valve between them, which is the bicuspid valve or the mitral valve, and close the aortic valve to prevent backflow of the blood from the aorta to the left ventricle. How many times does the blood pass through the heart on its way from the kidney to the aorta? This question is repeated from the exams. The blood moves through the heart twice in one complete circuit. So the answer is B, which is 2. From the graph, when did the person begin a period of vigorous exercise after resting? So we want to choose an answer for the beginning of the vigorous exercise. So the answer is A. Here the person starts to begin the exercise as his breathing rate is gonna increase now. This is a very important question and repeated in the exams also. Which word equation represents anaerobic respiration in human muscles? Remember, N means no oxygen. No oxygen, so glucose is broken down without oxygen into lactic acid only without carbon dioxide. The diagram shows two experiments on the gas exchange in small aerobic crustaceans. So here the respiration occurs is aerobic respiration, which is taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide as a waste product of metabolism. Soda lime absorbs carbon dioxide. Okay. Which way does the liquid marker moves? Here we have so small aerobic crustaceans. Aerobic respiration occurs and oxygen is taken in, carbon dioxide is given out. But carbon dioxide now is absorbed by soda lime. So we only have the effect of the absorption of oxygen toward the crustacean, towards the crustaceans, so it moves to the left side. Here stays still. Why? Because we have glass beads instead of soda lime. So oxygen is taken and the carbon dioxide is given out without being absorbed by soda lime. In which organ is alcohol broken down? In the liver. Liver is the organ concerned about the breaking down of toxins and alcohol and drugs and detoxification of toxins and storage of bile. Oh, sorry, synthesizing bile and storage of glycogen. Blood passes through the kidney and some substance leaves the blood as filtered liquid. From this liquid, certain substances are reabsorbed back into the blood. We all know that reabsorption of glucose occurs by active transport and water by diffusion. So here is the filtered liquid and here is the urine. Glucose here is 0.10, then in the urine it becomes 0.00. So it must have been reabsorbed back into the circulation. So glucose is from the substance reabsorbed and also water. As is here 99, here 97. So there is a difference too, which is a difference done by reabsorption. After a meal, the concentration of blood glucose increases. What then causes the concentration of blood glucose to return to the normal level or the set point? So here we need insulin production from the pancreas. to reduce the blood glucose concentration that increases after this meal. A bright light suddenly shines into a person's eye. Here we want to control the size of the pupil to prevent entrance of severe light, as extra light entering through the eye may cause damage to the retina, which is at the back of the eye. In order to prevent this damage, so the pupil gets smaller so that a small light enters the pupil. This question is cancelled. Where will fertilization occurs? Fertilization occurs in C, which is the ovary containing the ovules. The graph shows the changes in the dry mass. Dry mass is a mass without water of two similar samples of seeds from the start of germination. What causes the change in the dry mass after day 3 of the seed germinated in the light? The dry mass increases in the seed germinated in the light as when the seed germinated becomes a plant, and the plant now makes photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, so production of glucose and storage of starch. So the dry mass increases. But here, the dry mass doesn't increase because the seed germinated and becomes a plant, and the plant is in the dark, so no photosynthesis, no glucose production, and no starch. Which conditions are necessary to these changes to occur? We need the word wow, which means water and oxygen and warm temperature. So we need suitable temperature and water and the presence of oxygen, and no carbon dioxide is needed, of course. Albinism is an inherited condition in which pigment doesn't develop in the skin, hair, and eyes. The albino allele is recessive, so we give the albino a small letter, and normal capital letter. What are the chances of albino parents having a normal child? Albino parents, so they are P small, P small, and P small, P small. So if albino male marries albino female, all their offsprings are P small, P small. So all of them are albino. So the chance that they have a normal child is 0%. In cats, the allele for short hair is dominant to the allele of long hair. Short hair, P capital, long hair, P small, as short is dominant, long hair, P small, as is recessive. Short-haired cat and long-haired cat. Long-haired cat, so it is P small, P small. Their offsprings were all short. So in order to produce this, the short-haired cat must be P capital, P capital, as the short-haired and married long-haired cat, P small, P small. All the offsprings are P capital, P small, short-haired. This is F1, generation number 1. One of these kittens, P small or P capital P small, matured and mated with a long-haired cat. Long-haired cat, P small, P small. We all know that hetero with homorecessive gives us the ratio 1 to 1. And hetero with hetero gives us the ratio 3 to 1. So here the ratio 1 to 1, short to long. Blood grouping. Blood grouping is a kind of discontinuous variation and controlled by genes only and not the environment. Which of the labeled animals are in competition with seed-eating insects for their food? Insects and birds, both of them eat seeds. So there is a competition between insects and birds. What shows the direction of energy flow through a pyramid? It usually moves upward from the producer, primary consumer, and secondary consumer. Which organism is a producer? So we choose the first organism here. Which R represents the carbon dioxide from plant respiration? Carbon compounds is plant, which means glucose. Aerobic respiration happens to the glucose, so it gives out carbon dioxide. This question is cancelled as water cycle is cancelled from our syllabus. Which graph shows the effect on the number of prey when their predators are removed? No predators, so the number of prey starts to increase. The diagram shows a food chain. A person sprays the rose bush with pesticides. Which organism does the person want to kill? He wants to kill the pests, which is the green fly, as it eats the rose bush. The levels of carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere have increased during the last 100 years. What is the most likely cause of this? We all know that deforestation is the main factor contributing in global warming and enhanced greenhouse effect. The graph shows the relationship between sulfur dioxide pollution and the number of species found on trees, number of species and sulfur dioxide. As we all see, as sulfur dioxide concentration increases, the number of species decreases. So, which statement is correct from this graph? As sulfur dioxide levels increase, number of species decrease. That's all for November 2009. See you later in June variant 1 2010. Good luck.